I guess I'll say a few words, go without saying, thanks to all the director levels, staff here, all the other level staff, Hercules effort. So pretty incredible, and of course those kudos you probably won't accept, but we'll keep pouring it on you because they did a heck of a job. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ron for our update here at noon.
Okay. Try to speak into here. To echo some of the mayor's words, thank you to everyone. You know, I don't want to name anybody in particular, any organizations, because I don't want to forget anybody. But you know, we've had a number of restaurants that delivered food. We've had the University of Northern Iowa not only bring staff and student athletes, but equipment and all of those things. So a big thank you to everybody on that. I would tell you right now, we're kind of wrapping up what I would call our flood fighting efforts, and I'll go into that a little bit. But I think what we're doing now is starting our planning for flood recovery efforts. There was a lot of fighting the flood and reinforcing the levee on the south side of the river. On the north side of the river, what we've been doing is providing some sandbags, some labor, and some of those things up in that particular neighborhood. But we also know that there's going to be some significant damage up there, and we've got to get up there and help those neighborhoods out as we recede. And we have already started talking about the planning preparations for that. Start with flood recovery. As many of you know, especially council members, we went well into the night last night with placing sandbags along the earthen levee from basically West 1st Street all the way down past the treatment plant, and from there down 9th Street to the Western Home. The engineering department was working with their local contractors to go ahead and put in some of the HESCO barriers for flood protection along that particular stretch of the levee, while Cedar Falls Utilities also deployed a couple of their water barriers up there to keep out water and help protect not only the Cedar Falls Utilities, but the Western Home in the case of something happening with our levee system. So we suspended those activities last night, sandbagging volunteer activities last night about 1:30, and started up again at about 7 o'clock. And as many of you know, those are now completed right now. We've got the latest Crest Level came in at 99.5. It looks like at about 10 p.m. Will be, as you can see there on the screen, it looks like at about 10 p.m. We'll hit that. Less than a foot will be going over the next 10 hours. So, couple things, couple updates that we talked with the mayor about before coming to this meeting. The first one was Western Home, and I have not got to talk to Chris Hansen yet, but one of the things we talked about is they were under the mandatory evacuation, and they did evacuate 50 of their residents that would be the most challenging to move, and they're looking at what time they can start bringing them in. We feel strongly as a staff and that we can go ahead and start bringing those folks back. And here's part of the reason that they're putting a little pressure to bring those back, is those facilities that they moved to Allen and some of the others where they have those beds, now facilities downstream that are very similar to a Western Home are looking for beds. And so by tying up those beds, or by freeing up those beds, we're hoping to help flood recovery efforts downstream. So that was item number one. Item number two is we've been asked about downtown businesses opening. And again, from a staff level, we're recommending that we go ahead and open those downtown businesses. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep a very similar corridor like we have right now. Right now, we have West 1st Street's closed. Clay Street is where the closure is, and then all the way down to 6th. We're going to bring Clay Street closure back to Washington Street. I was getting that confused a little bit earlier. And so, and then allow the businesses to reopen and foot traffic go ahead and take place down in that particular area. We're also going to have, we're going to encourage now and send this out in our press conference that we want people to stay off the earthen levee. It's really starting to get to the point where we need to have those folks stay off of that. There are some viewing locations with the traffic stopped on Center Street and the traffic stopped on West First Street that they could go on those where the pedestrian accommodations on those and view some of the flooding. So, but we are going to ask and have some public safety folks out there to keep them off of those particular locations. Other than that, I think our staff's going to be on standby to go ahead and monitor what we have in place for the flood protection and try to react accordingly and move forward. Couple things that we want to touch briefly on for our flood recovery efforts. We've got our inspection department's going to start gearing up and looking at going after the inspections as the water recedes. Engineering and public works are going to look at, even before inspections gets out there, they're going to start looking at, as these waters recede, what's the damage to the roadways and how soon can we get those fixed and get people back in safely. Then as some of those folks start to get in their homes, assess the damage and try to figure out what we need to do, we're going to go ahead and start to arrange for places for them to bring their garbage, or that we can pick some of that debris up, flood debris, garbage up. We're also going to look at helping coordinate volunteers and donations and those type of things. We don't have a solid plan put together. Some of that's going to be moving, but we hope to work with Councilman Miller since he's up in that area, and also the North Cedar Neighborhood Association. I kind of went through a lot of information really quick there at a high level, but I would now take any questions if anybody has it. I'm going to stop this. Yes, sir.
Is the emergency operations center going to remain open?
Yeah, right now we have that scheduled to remain open until about 8 o'clock. What we've seen is, I think, and Jen can jump in here and help me, but I think after about midnight last night, the calls really started to decrease. At 5 o'clock this morning, they started to increase again quite a bit. I think what you'll see is they'll stay, our guess is they're going to stay fairly steady throughout the day, maybe decrease in the night. But as the water recedes, then we anticipate getting calls about recovery efforts in. Right now it's kind of that flood preparedness, flood protection mode, but we think what will happen is moving into flood recovery.
So yeah, we're playing from 8 a.m. Monday morning to still have it 24/7 evening.
And that's really been pretty helpful. We've got a consistent message coming out of there as people see things in the field, and we get that relayed on to the EOC. You know, then as people call in, they're getting that consistent message on roadways that are open or initiatives that are made. So, yes.
Can we talk about 5 o'clock for the downtown?
Yeah, what I think what the mayor was kind of aiming at when we talked about this is look at those businesses opening around that 5 o'clock hour. Hopefully, the restaurants in those times. And what we want to do is try to make a decision early enough that they could, you know, make sure that they can get staffing accommodations and get those. So. I knew Carol would have a question. I can almost guess what the topic is.
So vehicle traffic, I know that whole question because people ask you any ideas. I know they're closed today, but I might have missed what you said.
You know, I think what we're going to do is probably open vehicle traffic up to tomorrow, but I don't want to make that as for sure. Right now, we're trying to still hold that core area under just pedestrian traffic. Anybody else?
Hey, Ron.
Yes, Mark.
I stopped out and talked with the pastors, the Living Waters Church of the Nazarene. They have a ton of supplies and water. There's bleach, there's canned goods down there. They've got boxes for people to come in and grab what they need. they said they would keep that. They're willing to do that as long as they can. They can use a hand with staffing, so I was hoping that we could get a staff person back out there and keep somebody on there. They've got I believe he had a funeral this afternoon. He said he was fine with people coming and going through. And then Monday, we had a trip scheduled, seminar or something to go to, so he was hoping for some assistance with staffing through that. Is that something we can make happen?
Yeah, I think we don't have any particular plan, but I don't know that would, yeah, I think we can do that, is the short answer. And when we get a chance, I'd like to talk to you more in detail about how that works.
Okay. I'll get an email or something sent out to the neighborhood association here shortly following this and start the process of the conversation on donations. You guys are doing terrific. I guess from being out here in Mount Vernon Road to the access at this point and the recovery process, I guess I'm sure conversations need to happen with the state and FEMA, or how does that process look? How does that work?
Well, what I can tell you right now that we know about is the county has made a declaration, but I do not believe the governor has yet made a declaration at the state level. So I think they're...
I suppose as more communities get affected, the likelihood of that probably changes.
Yeah, one of the advantages, and I shouldn't really say it an advantage, but in 2008, if you recall, the Parkersburg tornado hit about 2 weeks before we did. And so, you know, it was already their county made the declaration, the state made the declaration, and actually there's a presidential declaration, and so we were able to tag on to that. And so it may take some time before we actually get a state or federal declaration at this point.
And there was 2 guard members down here from the state. I think that's probably what they were doing, is assessing the situation, and they have a part of that process. So.
Okay, Mark, I don't know if you heard that, but Jeff Olson just had said that there was 2 members of the Iowa National Guard here, and they came down from the state, and what he believes is that's probably part of the process to start that evaluation if the governor should make that declaration. So we're going to keep in touch with that, and hopefully we can get to that point.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for Mark. Would you mind sending a copy to the council members on the email that you're sending to the association? I'd kind of like to know what they're planning and if there's something that the rest of us can help with up there.
Did you hear that, Mark?
No.
Councilman Dara is asking that when you send a communication to the North Cedar Neighborhood Association, if you would copy the rest of the mayor and council, because he would like to know what some of those flood recovery activities are.
And how we,
Okay.
And how they can be involved.
Sure. We got an idea what do you think? I mean, we're talking Tuesday or Wednesday at least before the water's down and, you know, the recovery process starts for individuals. I gotta think we're into Tuesday or Wednesday before the water's down. You got any guess on that?
Well, I can tell you, I think what will happen is we've talked internally, and you know, the quicker we can get in there for the infrastructure to get assessed, the quicker we can get residents in there safely. So I know as the water recedes, we'll be looking at areas that we need to repair, roadways or what have you. And you know, again, a lot of it does depend on how fast that water recedes. My guess is there probably won't be a lot of work that they can do on Sunday as the water recedes, but Monday and Tuesday are going to be the days I would guess.
Sure. Do we ramp up? We're just leaving this on the inspection department at this point. We're not staffing any additional people or anything.
No, what we did in 2008 is we kind of use some additional staffing with our inspection department, and we'll look at doing that again as well.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's happening with it, but at our house anyway, the water hasn't come up 50 blocks this morning, so it must be, it's roaring over Center Street yet, but it must be making its way north and spreading out through the QNet or something along those lines, because
Yeah, it looks like I don't know, the increase for the next 10 hours is going to be very slow and is what it looks like on the projection, so. So I guess at this stage, one of the things I'd like to ask is when will the council like another update? Yet today, would you like something early tomorrow?
Well, something significant changes, I would think early tomorrow is fine for me.
Would 10 o'clock tomorrow be a good time as well? So I'm getting a lot of head nods, so.
Unless there's a significant change.
Yeah, there's a big change.
Oh yeah, we'll let you know. Mayor, is that all right?
Yes.
10 a.m. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shoot for 10 a.m. tomorrow again for another update of this nature. I've got a couple more questions.
Any observations on how the beach house performed?
You know, better than in 08, but I know that's kind of a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek remark, but I think until we get in there and actually see it, but you know, we're looking at it from 50 yards away. It's a solid structure, so we're hoping that everything stays in place. Maybe some small damage, probably quite a bit of cleanup, but.
When you anticipate announcing to the general public that town will be open for business, or are you kind of letting that?
I think right after here, we'll be looking at putting a press release out.
I just like a little time to let the businesses know too, so they're, know the time, so they hear it and all that stuff.
You want to be later, Carol?
No, that's fine, I just wanted to make sure that I had, you know, I had a half hour or so, that's fine, that way I can make people that need to call also.
Yep, so I would guess that, you know, it does take us a little time to put that together. I would guess by 1:30, we'll probably have something out. It's 20 after 12 now.
Oh, yeah, I'll have
So.
somewhere else, by then, for sure. Thanks.
Dave?
People going to a wedding at Rotary Reserve have not heard definitively that they can't get there. Do we have any information? Is the road closed off of First? I think it is.
I would suggest calling the EOC. I don't have the road closures right in front of me right now, but the EOC has all of that information, all of the road closures, and we've had several people actually call in and say, how do I get to X? And we've kind of directed the personnel in the EOC have directed them
We were
there.
under the understanding that you couldn't get there.
Dave, after this meeting, probably the best to connect with Craig or Kelly. Police might be able to tell
We
you
know
better
Lee
what
Road
streets
to
are.
the city limits is not under, but we just don't know. You don't go very
How
far
far?
north from First Street and you're out of city limits, so we just don't know.
I didn't know if you'd heard from county or anything.